Calvin.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Looks like you made a trade for Quinnen Williams.
We did. Yeah, it's exciting. Just kudos to Jerry and Steven and Will, and I think being aggressive but smart because a couple of the moves we made, you're getting guys not just for this year but beyond, which I think is great, and it gets you excited as a coach. And I think it's two terrific players, but also terrific young men. And I've talked to Logan. Still need to reach out to Quinnen, but excited to see both those guys here and get them welcome to the family.
What does Quinnen bring to you defensively?
Yeah, I mean, we've played him a couple times. Just played him a couple weeks ago. He's just a difference maker. Ability to affect the interior part of the pocket from a pass rush standpoint. I think 12 sacks a couple years ago under the tutelage. I'm not saying it was White Cotton that did it because Quinnen did it, but around A-Dub, and very disruptive. I mean, for us, there's certain calls you make. You're aware when he's in the game because he's just so disruptive. So we had alerting calls when he was out of the game. We had to set protections based on him, and you guys see it. You see the talent. But I love the play style too, just the way the guy plays, the way the guy runs the football, and then from what I've heard from A-Dub, just the type of young man he is. I think he'll fit in great in this locker room, and very exciting.
Clarence, to DLLS Cowboys from order operations, was the Logan one that was done yesterday, and that Jerry alluded to being done yesterday, that you said you knew about last night, and how did the Quinnen Williams trade come down today?
Yeah, again, there's a lot of conversation. Yes, to the first question, but a lot of conversation today, and again, I knew that these things were going on. I wasn't sure how it was going to play out, but again, I think it speaks to ownership, Jerry, Steven, their commitment to building this thing the right way and getting the right type of guys, but also impact players, and ton of communication with them today, also with Will, and just exciting day for us. But again, we've also got a lot of guys coming back from injuries as well, so it's not just something that it falls on these two guys. It's again getting some guys back from injury. Demo should be back this week, and the safeties are starting to look healthier, and Revel, and so it's the right time for us, right time for a bye, and like I said, very pleased with what we did today.
Is it kind of bittersweet, the excitement of today and what you got coming, that you're coming off 2 straight losses, that it would be different. Things would look different if these guys were coming and then you didn't have these 2 huge setbacks.
No, again, I mean, the losses are the losses, and we watched the video with the guys today, but there's a lot to be learned. And looking at the game from last night, again, I think a couple things jump out at me. Just our lack of success in situational football was real. I think we were 5 of 15 on third downs offensively. I think there was 9 or 10 of them, I think, that were 7 yards or more. And in the red zone, we had too many mental errors on offense, and they were 7 of 9 in the first half. But anytime they're separate, is I guess what I'm trying to say. Like, you do the video, you coach the players about the things that we did well, the things we didn't do well, the process stays the same, and then this news is just exciting because it's gives you something to look forward to. You'll continue to build your roster and your football team.
Yeah, you're building for the future, but as far as this year's concerned, you're running out of room, so to speak, and those losses, kind of set you back in the process because there's no room for error.
No question. Yeah, we've put ourselves in. We don't have room for error. And again, we're in a situation now where every game's critical, and we got to win games. And it starts by figuring some stuff out this week from a self-scout standpoint. That's where the focus is right now. The players are going to kind of reset, recharge, but we've got a week to figure out a lot of things, and also now how to use and acclimate these guys to the team.
Brian, Todd Archer with ESPN. How do you acclimate those guys and get them up to speed quick enough?
Yeah, I mean, again, they'll both be coming through here for physicals, and we'll get them the things that they need, the iPads and stuff like that. But they're both veteran players. They both have played a lot of football. Quinnen certainly has history in the attack front, type of family that we want to be, and but we'll get them up to speed, and both guys I think should be fast learners and pick it up pretty quick, and you should expect to see them make a fast transition.
And then, how do you make it work with the 3 defensive tackles now?
Yeah, well, again, I think you guys saw last night some of the things we were able to do from, the 5-down stuff that we played. I thought that was very good for us. The first down efficiency was one of our best of the year, and you can never have enough depth at the interior part of the defensive line. But, we'll roll those guys through. We'll stay fresh. But, again, I do think that you'll see us continue to use the 5-down front. We liked some of the things. I thought Osa played his best game of the year. Most disruptive game last night. I thought that was great to see. And, the other guy that I think really jumped out last night, Todd, was Jadeveon. I mean, someone asked me about it last night. I don't remember who, but watching the film, I mean, as disruptive a game as I've seen from any of our guys this year.
And then one more on because you went out and got a linebacker and a defensive lineman, does that speak to misevaluations along the way of what you thought you had at those positions?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just that we're always looking. We're competing every day to build the best roster that we can and, create competition. And, I think it's there's different reasons you make these moves. And certainly we need to play better, on defense, on offense. And so we're trying to do that.
John Machota with The Athletic, how did you find out about the Quinnen and Williams trade? Were you just in your office? Did you get a call? And then what was your reaction?
Yeah, well, I knew that it was obviously excitement. Very, very excited. Again, just like I said, having game plan and have to play the guy a couple weeks ago and, knowing how disruptive he is. But no, I was in a meeting and got called out by Will, and it was great news and very exciting.
And then with Wilson, how does he fit with DeMarvia and Overshown? How do their games, can they work together? How do you envision that?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that I thought K9 played his best game of the year. Yesterday we talked about K9 seeing less and reading his keys better, and I thought he did that yesterday. And Demo's more of a will linebacker, and K9's been playing Mike for us, and Logan's a Mike, and again we'll let those guys kind of compete and see how it goes. And again, that's the good news, is that you're building depth and you're building. We've gotten Shamar a lot of reps, and Maris didn't play as much yesterday, and that's more because of the 5-down stuff. But again, creating competition is a good thing.
Nick Harris, Forward Star Telegram. Jerry was talking on the radio this morning about how there's a natural urgency for him to win because of his age right now. How have you seen that manifest throughout the course of this year that you've been head coach, with the big moves y'all made, and then obviously today as well? Well,
he's always been, someone that was willing to make moves and make a trade and do things like that. I do think that he laughs about it, in terms of his age, and we actually just had a meeting where we were talking about the game and reviewing the game, and he brought it up, so I know it's something. But again, there's urgency for all of us, and it's because of the position that we're in. We've put ourselves in this spot where we're 3-5-1, and we don't have a lot of room for error, and we know that. And again, I think that sets a very clear marker of we know what we have to do. We're not going to look too far ahead. We're going to look at, like I said, this week and getting back to the self-scout and all that stuff and answer a bunch of questions from scheme-wise and coaching things and personnel moves. And, then all focus will be on to Vegas.
And you guys got Sullivan Thomas in free agency. Y'all brought in Perry and Winfrey, now Quinnen Williams. What kind of input has Aaron Wycott been able to provide as far as guys that he's coached in the past, and how did he provide input in this instance?
Well, he's a great seller. He's he definitely, if you ask him about a player that he's coached, you better get comfortable, because he's going to spend a lot of time selling. But he's very passionate about it, and again, he's 3 for 3. So he's just got a great feel for it. He understands the attack front, and I think he understands people as well. And all the guys he's brought here and been a part of bringing here, I think, fit in exactly how we want them to, from the locker room culture to the way they play and the way they practice.
And there was a lot of talk about you guys potentially wanting an edge coming up to the deadline. Did anything about their performance yesterday change that mindset, or is it was just kind of the way the chips fell today?
No, kind of the way the chips fell. Again, I think we. I've talked in here extensively about, I thought the pass rush yesterday was really, really good. I think I've already talked about Jadeveon, but, as a Raku, again, I think he's a rising star in this league. I really do. I think he's figuring out what it takes to rush the quarterback at this level. And, Dante Fowler and, Sam and Neal and those guys, I mean, we're deep there. And so that's why the 5 down fronts make sense for us. And, again, it was a good start yesterday in terms of how we affected the quarterback.
Tommy Archhouse, Cowboys.com. With the 5-man fronts, if you go more that direction now with Quinnen, what can that do to take some heat off of the secondary?
Well, it should hopefully allow less time for the quarterback to stand back there and see what's going on. What it does is it creates Tommy one-on-ones. There's no way to slide. I mean, if you're in 4 down front, we can send the center one way or the other. So if we want to take care of Clarence, we slide the center that way. More than likely, we'd slide to Todd because he's a better athlete. I mean, when you have 5 guys out there, you can't send the center anywhere. So your help has to come from somewhere, and usually you use a back. And so when you use a back, then that limits how much you can free release the back. And so it creates a ton of problems, quite honestly.
And then you talked a lot about eye discipline with linebackers being something that you've watched with your guys. What stands out about Logan Wilson's eye awareness and how he uses his eyes?
Yeah, it's actually the number one thing when you watch his film that you notice is how quick he dissects plays and how quick he sees tells, and he reads his triangle. It's one of the best things he does, and he's got the athleticism to get there, so it jumps off the film. Without knowing him. I'm sure there's a ton of film study. I'm sure there's a ton of stuff that he does from a preparation standpoint. But I would say the number one thing that jumps off the film along with his athleticism is his ability to read keys and dissect, run schemes.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. I think this is a little bit related to the 5-man front, but when you add a guy like Quinnen to a pair of starters that have been productive, is there any element of only so many snaps to go around, or is the D-line just such a rotational kind of thing that it doesn't really matter?
Yeah, Scott, it's more of a rotational thing. I mean, these guys are all on a pitch count in terms of you don't want to overdo them because you want them to be, fresh when they need to go. So I don't think you can ever have enough good ones. And we certainly have the depth to be able to give these guys blows when they need blows, and the way they run to the ball is important to us. So I think it's bonus all the way around.
We've talked a lot about the window with Dak and winning. How much of this do you think is trying to take advantage of the window with Dak when he's playing at the level that he's been playing?
Yeah, I think there's just urgency all the way around. I mean, we want to win. We want to build a world championship team. Where we sit right now, we're nowhere close to being where we want to be. But again, like I said, we've got time this week to reassess some things, and that's our job as coaches, is to clean some things up and tighten some things up, and to get ready for the last 8 games. But again, Dak's a great player. I don't know how much longer Dak wants to play into his 40s. I mean, most of these guys are playing into their 40s now. So the urgency is here because we're here to win and compete to win.
Garrett
Podell, CBS Sports. Brian, obviously different positions, but when you had Micah Parsons, he moved around the line of scrimmage a lot. How much do you see of Quinnen Williams being able to line up in different spots, and how beneficial is that for a D-line to have a dynamic player who can kind of bounce around all this different?
Well, again, I mean, he's mostly been inside. He's really been the 3 technique, the 2 technique. They've played him on the left. They've played him on the right. We weren't really sure where he was going to go last time we played him, how they were setting it. Some of it was matchup. I'll be sure to ask him, when I talk to him. But yeah, he'll be more inside. But can he play outside as the edge? Yeah, he can. But he's most disruptive inside just because of the speed and the power and the pad level that he has. And when you can push the pocket back into the quarterback or push the center guards back into the runners, it creates a lot of chaos.
How much do you think, we talk a lot about the pass rush impact, but how much do you think he can affect the run game for you guys?
Yeah, again, I know White Cotton said he's just an incredible all-around player, but he said that again, one of the best run stoppers he's ever been around, and it's because of the relentless play style that he has, the way he's wired, and I think that's something he's shown coming out of college and through his first couple years in the league.
Joe.
Joe White, Dallas Morning News. What do you remember about scouting him this year, and what kind of stood out on the tape when you scouted him?
The edges that he could create, on guards, and he plays with width. His stance is very narrow because he knows he wants to be able to get that first and second step in the ground. We were very aware of when he was out of the game. I think I said to you guys the big touchdown to Pickens on Sauce Gardner. He was out of the game. We knew he was out of the game, so we were comfortable with a protection that maybe when he was in there we weren't going to be as excited about running. But I mean, just the guy is. He's got size, he's got speed, he's got play style that fits what we want to do, and just a great addition. Really, really excited.
It's been said that defensive tackles sometimes are hard to develop. The last 2 trades for defensive tackles have been guys who get developed and ready to go. I guess how much of a premium do you guys put on getting guys who are ready to go right now, and obviously say goodbye to one of your former first-round pick defensive tackles?
Yeah, again, I think, anytime you get a chance to add a guy like Quinnen to your team, you're crazy if you don't do it. In terms of Mozzie, I had a really good talk with Mozzie. He was obviously disappointed that, it didn't work out for him here, and I wish him nothing but the best. I told him that what I truly believe, sometimes change is good, and he gets a chance to go and start over in New York, and that's not a bad thing. And he won't be the first person that leaves one team and goes and has great success. I want that for him. I hope he has a great career, but it was tough to say goodbye to Mozzie.
Tom.
Sadi's the Athletic. Brian, for Matt Eberflus, post-training camp, he had to deal with losing Micah and a lot of injuries, signed Clowney, the 2 trades here. With all the personnel change, you've been in the coordinator spot. What kind of challenge does that create for a coordinator to, have all that happen just after training camp?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. And, again, it's not the easiest thing to do. And certainly, we've had our issues with the safety position and things like that. And, just the uncertainty of at times of Wanye and how's he going to feel and things like that. But, you lean on your staff, but there's certainly things that you have to, okay, I want to do this, but I'm not sure I'm going to have that guy available. So you kind of put it off to the side. You maybe rep it in a walkthrough side, but you don't, do a full speed rep. And then if the week looks like promising that player is going to play, you're like, okay, I want to pull that back out. So it's a little bit of a juggling act. But I will say when Flus got word of the trade for Quinnen, he was all smiles.
In your conversations with him, with all the personnel changes, do the players need to pick up his scheme, or does his scheme fit the players that are available on any given week?
Yeah, I think it's us, trying to find those answers, Saad. I mean, it's like the 5 down stuff. I mean, there's nothing, there's no genius behind playing 5 down when you've got talented defensive linemen and creating singles and stuff like that. And I think it's a little bit of both, quite honestly. I think it's, him making sure that we're challenging the opponent who we're playing. And I think that's part of it. I think it's, there's things that we need to do from tightening up our coverage, our eyes, things like that. But it's a little bit of both, and again, that's why this week is so important for us. I keep referencing it, but this week is very important for us as a staff because there's a lot of questions that we have to answer, and there'll be a lot of deep dives into every phase: 1st, 2nd down, 3rd down, short yardage, goal line, red zone, 2-minute, 4-minute, backed up. Those are all areas that we have to look into and say, okay, what does the scheme look like? Does it fit us right? What areas are we not executing well at? What areas are we executing well at? And then we'll make some decisions based on that.
Calvin.
Traded for Wilson, who got benched in Cincinnati. And I don't know how much tape you were able to see of him before the trade, but what do your personnel people say about what they saw on tape?
Yeah, I watched some film on him. Like I said, the number one thing that jumps out, and again, things happen for different reasons. I know they drafted some linebackers, I know, and but again, I think when you watch the film of Logan, you talk about a guy that's got 4, 100-plus tackle seasons, and we played him a couple years ago, and what jumped off the film was the athleticism, the ability to dissect things. He's excellent in coverage, from both zone and man. But what I saw that really jumped off the film was how quick he was to dissect what was getting ready to happen, and then he shows up fast at the ball.
Bland played in one of his better games. Just why do you think that was last night?
The cornerback position's hard, and I think, he played amazing the week before. I think it's part of playing corner in this league, and, he's not a guy we worry about. I thought he had to tackle a bunch yesterday, and a number of those were, on isolations to him, but I don't have any concerns about Duran. But I will say that, was not his best game, and the type of pro he is, and all pro really, he'll bounce back.
Clarence.
You talked about guys, coming back, after Where are Overshawn and Revel? Are they on track to play, not just, return?
Yeah, the thought is yes. Hopefully they have a great week this week in all of their rehab and things that they're doing and just their work. But that would be the plan. And hopefully we'll find out a lot more next Monday when we get them back in here. And I would say yes. As of now, they're trending to play.
And the two safeties should be back as well.
Hopeful, yes.
The Russian coverage marriage, is there something missing there? It seemed like pass rush worked, but any third and long, it seemed like they were able to convert pretty easily.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I think, having looked at the film again this morning, there was definitely some, not coverage breakdowns. I thought that they threw and caught the ball pretty well. There was times that, we were getting hurt on third down and long where they did a good job with some of their pass protection, some of the pickups and stuff of our blitzes. We were a little bit late with a couple of our pressure packages. And so the quarterback, Jacoby, was able to hold the ball a little bit longer, but I would agree that third down we did not play very well, and that's a combination of both. Sometimes it was the pass rush, sometimes it was the coverage, and those are things that we need to tighten up. We mixed the coverage pretty good, I thought, but they seem to be a step ahead of us in most third down situations.
And then offensively, the last two games, is there, I don't know what the word, worry, concern? What do you, as you go into this week, there's more things that you need to look at offensively than you thought maybe 3 weeks ago?
No, again, I think I told you guys last night. I mean, we didn't play the game the way we wanted to play this one. We didn't go into this game saying, hey, we're going to play the whole fourth quarter in 11 personnel on the ball, 2 minute. That's not how we wanted to play this game. Like I said, last night we made the decision. We were down 27-10 with, I think, 2:30 to go in the third quarter. And I knew that we had to speed the pace of play up. And I think that's what led a little bit to Dak getting hit so much. And that's not how we want to play. But we're going to look at everything. We're not going to rest on the fact that we played great the first 6-7 weeks of the season, and the standard is a standard for us, and we got to get it figured out before Vegas.
If you have something else, Nick.
Yeah, I know you guys value premium draft capital. Is there more an emphasis or more urgent in these next two drafts to be able to hit on these guys with limited picks now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll address that when we get to it. Our guys do a great job. The personnel guys do a great job, but the thing I'll say is, draft capital, which we have, you can move those picks around and create more draft capital. And so I think when you look at the initial trade with Micah and now you look at what we've been able to do with it, I think it shows you that, Jerry, Steve, and Will, I mean, those guys are going to use the picks that we've got, and to get a guy like Quinnen and get him in here and is great. But we're always going to be looking to continue to build the roster.
Alrighty.
Thanks, guys. You guys always distract me when you guys look over there.